Down here in the Big Easy, we know a good show when we see one. No doubt the ladies of the Southeastern Conference are about to give us one we won't soon forget. Sweeter than beignet and spicier than a good A2 these stars of college gymnastics show us what grace under pressure and true athleticism is all about. And they are all here for much more than just a show. They are here to fight to be crowned SEC champions. We've got the Crimson Tide, gymnastics royalty, looking to bring back another trophy. And then there's Auburn, looking to keep that roaring success of a big regular season alive. Next, Missouri, looking to prove to everyone what the Show Me State has got. And finally, you can't count out the Razorbacks, winners of last year's first session. If you like excitement, drama, and a whole lot of fun like we do in New Orleans, then you're in the right place. Get ready to let the good times roll.
You're watching the 2019 SEC Gymnastics Championship from New Orleans. Welcome to the Smoothie King Center for our live coverage of the top conference in women's collegiate gymnastics. Teams are competing in 2 separate sessions today. And for the first time in history, going into the championship weekend, all 8 SEC teams are ranked in the top 20 of the NCAA rankings. Now later tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2, we'll see LSU, Florida, Georgia, and Kentucky. But first, Session 1 is coming up now, featuring Alabama, Auburn, Missouri, and Arkansas. Hi everyone, I'm Bart Connor along with my fellow Olympic medalist Kathy Johnson-Clark. The regular season has come to a close. It's championship time, and that means a lot to these young ladies competing for an SEC title this weekend.
This is the meet that they are most excited for. They look forward to it all season long, and many of them actually share friendships that go back years. They came up in club gymnastics together, but I tell you what, they share one thing, SEC pride, but once that meet starts, they all want to beat each other.
Now, the 4 teams in this session all have very interesting storylines as well.
Well, Alabama, coming in as the first seed in this session, certainly wants to win, and they're coming off their 2 best meets and start and end on their best events. Auburn, they have a great win record in the SEC, and they need to take advantage of starting on their best event, the bars. And Missouri and Arkansas, it's all about hitting a complete meet. 24 for 24 will be the pinnacle of success for sure, but they have to hit 20, 5 on each event.
It's championship time in the SEC. We're here in New Orleans. The athletes are ready. We're ready. The crowd is filling in. You're not going to want to miss some exciting gymnastics today, right when we come back. It's the SEC Gymnastics Championship Session 1, Smoothie King Center here in New Orleans, and we're glad you've joined us. There's going to be 4 hours of live, exciting gymnastics today. The first 2 hours here on the SEC Network. Quick reminder of the postseason championship format. All 4 apparatus will run simultaneously in this meet. 6 gymnasts on each team will compete on each apparatus. Just the top 5 scores for each team will count towards their team total. And make sure, a reminder for everyone that every routine can be seen on the ESPN app. Every apparatus, every individual channel. You can see the all-around channel as well, where you can see all 4 apparatus at once. So follow every single performance of your favorite team on the ESPN app. We are underway here in New Orleans. Session 1 of the SEC Championship.
And that was Katie Becker of Auburn on the uneven bars. Maddie Desch on the vault, off to a great start. You know the nerves are flying in here, but you really don't want to see those nerves show up in the performance, so they have to channel all of that into positive energy.
Allison Bauer on beam now for Missouri. They've shown a lot of grit this season. They've had several lineup changes and issues with injuries, but they have started to really get on track here late in the season, Kathy.
Nice combination here. The cat leap into the kick over front, right into a beat jump. Judges are looking for acrobatic skills that are connected to show that difficulty, both in the tumbling and in the dance. Like this leap, switch leap, a little short on that split. On both of those split positions, you really want to see a full 180-degree split at the top of the jump.
Allison Bauer, the senior from Mesa, Arizona. Perennial leadoff performer. That's a crucial routine for any gymnastics team, is having a hit and the first performance on the beam, and Allison Bauer does a nice job to get Missouri started.
Certainly was a really nice job. Now the judges really have to be precise in their assessment of these routines, because many of these routines have some flaws, not just mistakes, and they need to judge both.
John Carney, the assistant coach there at Missouri, congratulating senior Allison Bauer, getting the Tigers off to a good start. Drew Watson set to go for Auburn on bars. She's coming after Katie Becker, back in the lineup this week. Led them off with a season-high 9-8.
The judges here are looking for these handstand positions to be right on top of the bar in that vertical position, but not only that, they want straight arms, straight back, no pike in the hips. Good amplitude on her single bar release move, the Tkachev. Now she'll go to the low bar, to the bail, hits that handstand. Not perfectly straight. We will see some handstands that look like they are sucked up a straw. They are so straight. Nice one right there at the end. Into the dismount. Full twisting double back. She hangs on to the landing. They'll take a little deduction for not quite holding that stick position.
As you mentioned at the top of the meet, Auburn needs to get off to a good start on their best events. Good so far. Abby Armbrecht now for Alabama, the senior on vault.
She's doing a Yurchenko with a full twist, a little bit soft in the knees, but what a landing. Good for her. That is exactly the vault that Alabama needs. That kind of landing just injects so much energy into a team.
She's coming after Maddie Desch, led them off with a 9.75. Expect a good score there. Really clean execution.
The start value for this vault is a 9.95. She had a little bent knees right as she made contact with the table, but boy, nice finish.
Back to beam now. Allison Bauer had a 9.775. This is Mary Nicholson,
who is a very pretty balance beam worker. Look at the straight legs throughout that triple series. Attacks the landing, so aggressive. And small, slight balance check after that full turn, but she covered it really well. We jump into a straddle half.
Head coach Shannon Welker, in his 6th season at Missouri, told us that Nicholson has really become extra focused and sensing that this is her senior year. And for many of these young ladies, this will be among their final competitions.
I like the poise I'm seeing here, the confidence and the relax in the face. You can tell she's handling this pressure just beautifully. Nice job on the landing.
And on the bars now, we go quickly to Taylor Krippner. Drew Watson scores in 9.775.
Beautiful handstand on the low bar to start. Little leg separation on the Maloney up to the bar. But nice combination of skills for bonus, connecting those two release transitions. Here comes a dismount. Half in, half out. Tried to keep those toes pointed in the air. Almost got it, but a great landing.
Krippner, the senior from Cypress, Texas, did some of her club training at World Champion Center, of course, is the gym of Simone Biles.
Watch this transition. The Maloney up to high bar and then right down to the low bar with the bail. She has just little bitty form deductions throughout this. I like that she kept those toes pointed at the end of that dismount.
Just moments ago, Emily Gaskins for Alabama on vault, coming after Shea Mahoney at a 9.75 and Abby Armbrecht a 9.85.
Another 9.95 start value with the Yurchenko full. Great landing. Unfortunately, her chest was down, so the judges should take a deduction for the low chest, but no movement on the feet. Really like to see the fight I'm seeing with this Alabama team. They are attacking these vaults, really laser focused on those landings to not give away tenths of a point deduction.
Alabama was second last year in this SEC championship, but due to the strength in this incredible conference, Alabama is 5th in the conference this year. That means they earned the right to compete in this session with teams ranked 5th through 8th. The top 4 teams, based on their SEC and NCAA rankings, will compete in the evening session tonight on ESPN2.
Big opportunity here. Shalyn Olsen does a double twisting Yurchenko vault, 10.0 start value. It is the hardest vault in the competition.
Oh,
really well
my.
done. That's the best vault I've ever seen her do, and she's hopping up and down for a reason. That was the tightest form. She is sometimes a little loose in the legs, but wow, came up with the biggest vault of the season in that moment.
And just a moment ago for Auburn on bars after Taylor Kripna got a 9.825, Darian Goburn.
She is such an aggressive athlete here. Love the height, the amplitude. Woohoo!
Wow.
Oh my gosh, I jumped out of my seat. Her legs did come apart, so that's a slight deduction, but what a thrill. I mean, this is like better than a ride at Disneyland. This is unreal. Look at that. Perfect landing. I think that's the best bar routine she's done all year.
What a huge transition. That pack salto is like she was dropping from the ceiling. Takes a really strong young lady to hang on and not just go peeling off at the bottom. Back now to vault for Alabama. Shalyn Olsen had a great 9.875 after Emily Gaskins had a 9.85, a season high for her. Final vaulter for the Crimson Tide. They're doing great here. This is Lexi Graber.
This is their second 10-0 start value vault. It's a 1.5. She'll land facing away from the table. Beautiful amplitude. A pretty big hop on the landing. But I will tell you this, that was a better vault than she did in warm-ups, where she stuck it, but I love the height and distance.
Last year's NCAA regional all-around and vault champion, Lexi Graber for Alabama. They had a great start there. Arkansas on floor in this opening rotation.
Opens with a double Arabian. Judges are really looking for control on those landings.
Bringing in Sam Serio on the bars for Auburn after Darian Goburn notched a 9.85.
Auburn is off to a flying start over there on the bars. They are holding nothing back. Double tuck on the floor exercise. Great bar routine, just that little hop on the landing. Watch the positions in these leaps. Judges really need to see precision. Nice split. Wolf jump. The front foot could have been a little bit higher, but not bad.
Arkansas first two scores were Jessica Yamzon, a 9.8, Kennedy Hambrick, a career high 9.85, and this, of course, is Amanda Elswick.
So far, Arkansas is scoring 9.8 or better on this event. This should be no different. Really well done.
And one of their highest ranked events in the NCAA this year. Great job. And congratulations there from Courtney McCool, who does the floor routines for Arkansas. Now tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern, we'll have the second game of a big softball series between number 18 Arkansas and number 5 Tennessee from Knoxville. SEC softball is also available on the ESPN app, so you can watch from anywhere. Gracie Day now on bars after Sam Serio got a 9.8.
Watch the toe point, her finishing touches, the details, and then the height, amplitude on that release move. She was a little bit short on the bail to handstand. Just slightly rushed on that, but milked that final handstand into the dismount.
Oh, no.
Arabian, that's a shame. She just overcooked that dismount. That happened to her in the final touch warm-up as well. I thought she'd correct that. Just a little too amped.
Missed opportunity there because typically a big score for Auburn, who had all scores in the 9.8s except one 9.775.
I have to say, though, she was just going big here and could not quite rein that back in, over-rotated it.
Currently the 12th ranked team in the NCAA, hoping for a great start. They had solid scores on bars, but a missed opportunity with one of their big hitters there, Gracie Day. What a season Auburn had, one of the best SEC records ever. They were 5-2 in the conference, 8-3 on the NCAA record this year. And their national qualifying score currently has them ranked 12th in the country, as these teams also use this meet as a way to get to the postseason championship.
Sydney McGlone is on floor now with a double layout. Watch the lift on here. This is one of the E passes. Not quite quite the lift you want to see, but really good rotation, so she was able to maintain that double layout. Nice height on that double back, but unfortunately big lunge backwards. It's a big step, big deduction.
Brooke Kelly coming in on beam now for Missouri. Morgan Porter before her at 9.775. Their high score for Missouri on beam, so far a career high for Gabrielle Gatula. 9.875 for her.
Very solid on the front aerial to the one-arm back handspring on beam. Combination pass for the final tumbling run. Really nicely done and danced right out of it.
One score of 9.8 and two 9.85 so far for Arkansas, doing a really nice job here in the first rotation.
Just kind of running front with a full. Oh, almost got the stick on the landing, was slightly off to the side.
There'll be one final performer for Missouri on the beam. That is Brittany Ward back in the lineup.
Now on this pass, you really want to see those arms go up and time the block. She rushed it just a little bit, so not quite as high as we'll see in the competition, but good control on the landing.
Tomorrow at noon Eastern, we'll have the big series finale between number 11 LSU and number 8 Georgia at Foley Field in Athens. SEC Baseball is also available on the ESPN app. You can watch it from anywhere. Underway in the first of 4 rotations in this quad meet on a podium for SEC bragging rights and SEC titles. 2 hours of competition this afternoon here on the SEC Network, and then the top 4 teams go head-to-head on ESPN2 in the final session this evening later on.
Nice look at the coaches giving them last-minute details to focus on, but mainly just remind to relax, trust their training, take it one skill at a time, breathe, as she just said. It's always important.
And they're getting tips from some of the finest ever. That coach you saw for Missouri was Casey Jo McPherson. She was an outstanding gymnast at Arkansas when she was there, and that was Courtney McCool giving last-minute tips here for Sarah Schaefer on the floor.
Sarah will open with an E pass as well. It's a double Arabian. So you'll see a half twist into a front double.
Britt Ward coming in on beam for Missouri. Back in the lineup, she'd been out for several weeks because of injuries.
Nice control on the tumbling pass there. Great to have Brittany back in this lineup and to anchor. She's so solid on this event. Her form, is exquisite in the air, but unfortunately didn't follow through and finish strong. Really hit that landing.
Last year, Ward was all SEC on beam. She is a senior from Ozark, Missouri.
Nice cover out of that full turn. Just out of the quarter turn, close to the side. Reach into the straddle quarter. Notice how every time her foot comes off the beam, she points all the way through the foot. Hitch kick to an aerial cartwheel. That was beautifully done. Nice combination. On floor, Sarah shows off such beautiful long lines. She's a taller gymnast. Nice back 1.5 to front layout right into the dance. Good finish for Brittany Ward on beam. Arkansas has some pretty good scores so far on floor exercise. They are definitely doing their job.
They sure are. They're averaging right now over 9.8. They have a 9.8, 2 9.85, and a 9.875. That was Schaefer, expecting a good score there, and then perhaps one of the highlights of this afternoon session coming up soon. That would be Sophia Carter from Arkansas. She is a thrill to watch, and she has scored 9.975 multiple times this year. And Kathy, I know you're excited about seeing that routine coming up.
I can't wait for the audience to see this. This routine almost belongs on stage, on Broadway, in the theater, because it is so well choreographed, and to the music, the choreography is as grand as the music.
9 times this year. She's been over 9.9 as she gets a few tips from Courtney McCool, who was a standout, of course, at the University of Georgia during some of their finest days, as Georgia was one of the most dominant teams in the SEC for a long time. But there's a lot of parity now, isn't there, Kathy?
Yeah.
Because you have some of these perennial greats that are now in the mix, because there are a lot of good teams. Years ago, there was only a handful of good teams, but now there's so much more parity in collegiate gymnastics, and it's benefiting the sport greatly.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's just enjoy this. This is Sophia Carter. The music you will know.
Double tuck, beautiful height, little stumble forward. She was trying to be too perfect. Normally she dances right out of that. Back 1.5 to front full, a more difficult combination pass than many of the gymnasts do.
Sarah Schaefer scores in a 9.85. Get this. If Carter can get a 9.825, Arkansas could take the lead after the first rotation. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, 9 times she's been over 9.9 this year.
Watch this stretch pose right here. Balance on one toe. She's got a little bit conservative there. Gorgeous routine. One tiny misstep in the beginning. And I tell you, this routine absolutely makes me cry. It is so lovely and so precise. I'm sorry she had that little misstep on the first tumbling pass, because the rest of it was gorgeous. She was trying to stick just a little bit too soon. She knows she can go for perfection, and she didn't quite absorb that landing, kept the chest down. Back 1.5 to front full. Many of the gymnasts will do that same pass, but only do a layout instead of the full on the second.
So you see the scores so far at this point in rotation 1. Alabama 49.225, and one of the high scores for Auburn on the bars was Darian Goborn, 9.85.
Just such an exciting bar routine. Oh my gosh, she just let it go.
So we're off to a good start here in New Orleans. We said there's a lot of pressure, but you'd never know it by watching the sidelines. Top 8 teams competing all day long. 2 hours of coverage here on the SEC Network, and
I'm glad she
2
doesn't
more
like,
hours of coverage tonight on
she doesn't like
ESPN2.
performing, does she? No way.
Well, wait till you see her floor a little bit later in the show. It's something you're not going to want to miss. The score came in for Sophia Carter, a 9.85, which is really not on pace with what she normally does, but it's enough by 5/100ths of a point to give Arkansas the lead over Alabama, and then followed by Missouri and Auburn in the first of 4 rotations. What a start here. Arkansas leads after 1 here in New Orleans. Welcome back to New Orleans. We're in the Smoothie King Center, session 1 of the SEC Championship. After that first rotation, Arkansas has the lead by 5/100ths of a point over Alabama, Missouri, and Auburn. A couple of highlights from that rotation. Vault was Alabama, And Shalyn Olsen does one of the more exciting vaults in collegiate gymnastics. She did a great job, Kathy.
This is the best one she's done all season. Tiny bit of softness in the knees, but what a landing on an incredibly difficult vault. Double twist.
Lexi Graber got a 9.9 for herself.
This was really the best vault in the air for her. Huge height and distance, just couldn't quite control that landing, but a big moment for Alabama. Way to cap off a strong rotation.
Now, Auburn on bars had a highlight from Darian Goborn, but unfortunately for the team, over 0.3 of a point behind their season average.
This was the only little mistake in that routine. Bent arms on that pack salto down, but no doubt she flew higher than anyone.
Gabrielle Gotula, a 9.875 for Missouri, on par with where their season average is.
Great to see the fight through all their routines from start to finish.
And probably the biggest surprise of that first rotation was how solid and impressive the scores were for Arkansas on the floor.
This is their best, highest ranked event, so they took advantage just as they needed to, starting strong, trying to put a little bit of distance going into the next few rotations.
Their head coach, Mark Cook, in his 17th season said this is the meet they're going to finally peak. He's hoping to see it today. Arkansas off to a great start. So when we come back to New Orleans, it's rotation 2 at the SEC Championship. We're inside the Smoothie King Center here, set for rotation 2 of the SEC Championship Session 1. Quick reminder that every routine can be seen on the ESPN app. Every apparatus has its own individual channel, plus the all-around channel where you can see all 4 apparatus at once. So you can follow every single routine of your favorite school by going to the ESPN app. So here we go, all 4 events going simultaneously here in New Orleans.
Jessica Yamzon for Arkansas on bar, leading off on every single event, I might add. Opens up with a full twisting Yurchenko.
Arkansas on vault, Missouri on floor, Auburn on beam, and Alabama on bars in this second rotation.
And this is a huge routine for Alabama up in your top right corner on the uneven bars. Great routine so far, half in, half out for the landing. Perfect job finding that landing. What a start for them on this event.
Drew Watson now for Auburn on the beam.
Now they didn't quite get what they needed from the uneven bars. And this event, the balance beam, has not been their best event. It's been a little up and down. They have to channel those nerves into calm, aggressive performances. Nice job to start with. Showed off that stick. Just a 1.5 twist dismount. These athletes have gotten so good at landing those 1.5 twisting skills. They do them on vault, on floor exercise, and on beam. Really dialed in.
Watson, the sophomore from Tyler, Texas, did her club training at Texas East. Back to vault now. Jessica Yamzon, her score, we're waiting on that as Savannah Hennessy gets up.
Yurchenko for a bit of a pike in that vault in the afterflight and a big hop back. So those are 2 pretty sizable deductions. The judges really want to see that straight body line throughout the entire afterflight of the vault from the table to the floor.
Yamzon's score was a 9.7. Panizzi will wait for her score. As 4 routines going on simultaneously, there's a lot of action here. Lexi Graber set to go on the bars. Kylie Dixon did her part for Alabama, got them off to a great start with a 9.85.
Super start. Watch this opening combination. She's going to try to keep her legs together, and then it is perfect. Giant full up, came apart just a little on the top, right into a ginger, and then legs come apart on the regrasp. Parts of that combination were stellar, however. She has such nice finished positions. The handstand is beautiful on top. Just those 2 little breaks so far in form, but what a dismount. Half in, half out.
Darian Goborn, we saw her on bars earlier. She's coming up on beam now after Drew Watson started with an impressive 9.8.
Handspring layout, step out. A little unsure on her acro series. Takes a lot of poise and confidence to really attack the landing and follow through all the way to the finish. Some athletes are trying to make that correction before the correction is even needed. Oh, they may give her that connection, but she was very slow to get that back foot down from the leap onto the beam to connect those skills to get credit. You see what the judges do. That could affect the start value. Hitch kick to the layout full. Aerial cartwheel into the layout full. Nice job. A little bit of nerves in there, though.
Winter Childers on bars. Now, the first two scores for Alabama were Kylie Dixon's 9.85 and then Lexi Graber 9.875, a season high for her.
This routine starts and finishes strong. Nice combination. The Maloney right here up to the high bar, right back down to the low into a bail handstand. Teeny little bit of form. That is all. Kind of her feet coming apart slightly. I know the coach needs to stand there, but he's in my way. That's a cool dismount, darn it. Tap in, back out.
The coach there is Ryan Roberts. He's in his first season at Alabama. He comes from an extensive background in club coaching. He was at 5 years at the World Olympic Gymnastics Academy. He's the new assistant at Alabama. As we go back to vault now.
Yurchenko 1.5. Oh, almost got that landing. Opened up and laid it out just a little too soon, so it was slightly undercooked.
A quick note that this is the first meet of the season where there are actually 4 judges taking consideration on these scores. The high and low scores are thrown out, and the 2 scores in the middle are average. During the regular season, there are 2 judges, and they average the 2 scores. So typically when we get to the postseason, and I think it's a good thing, Kathy, we see scores that are slightly lower than what we see in the regular season, because at this point, championship titles are on the line, and I think it's important that 4 judges are taken into consideration, and there's more scrutiny on the routines that we're seeing, because SEC titles are at stake. Back to vault now. For Arkansas, Kennedy Hambrick had a 9.8. That's their high score so far. Arkansas not getting big scores here on vault.
Another 1.5 twist. Watch the distance. She can sometimes really fly and land far from the table. If she can go up as well, this could be a big score. Look at the, only did a full. I thought she was going to do the 1.5 twist. Huge amplitude in terms of the distance. Little bit of pike. And of course, it's a 9.95 start value.
We mentioned there's 6 athletes from each team on each event. You count just the top 5 scores. Well, so far, there's a 9.675 for Sarah Schaefer. That's the score they'd like to replace. Look how far she traveled.
This is huge because she was even on the front end of the table, and she's still 8 feet on the landing. But unfortunately, the hop was about 2.5 or 3 feet. So they're going to have to deduct it.
Arkansas, great start on floor. Let's see if they can hang on to that lead on vault, although the scores are quite a bit lower. Ari Guerra on bars a moment ago for Alabama.
Oh, I'm so sorry to see that. She had a little bit of trouble with the release move in the warm-ups, but she ended up seemingly to get back on track, really got the regas, but just missed it in this moment.
We didn't see her in the vault lineup as well. Not at her best these days, Ari Guerra. It's unfortunate because they need her if they want to win this session. Winter Childers before her had a 9.8. The high score so far for Alabama on bars is that 9.875. Here's Amanda Elswick, the anchor for Arkansas on vault.
Big amplitude on this 1.5 twist. Oh, she got the stick in warm-up. On this one, she brought her head forward just a little too soon to try to see the landing instead of feel for it. I think if she had just laid it out, frozen her feet a little bit right here, and opened those arms out, she might have avoided the step, but nice vault.
There is Mark Cook giving high fives. He's the head coach at Arkansas for 17 years. They've had 2 stuck landings for Arkansas and 2 scored vaults from the 10.0 as Mark Cook gets his team together. They have completed 2 of the 4 events here. Amanda Ellswick, a 9.9, a season high for her. So benefit from doing the 10-0 start value for Arkansas there. Well done. Gabrielle Gatula now for Missouri on floor.
Opens with a pike double back, nice landing.
So far they have a 9.8 for Allison Bauer and 9.85s for both Mary Nicholson and McKaylee Turner.
Watch this middle pass, I love it. Front half to a back double twist. How cool is that pass? Very unusual.
This is the event where Missouri is ranked highest of their 4. They're 15th in the country. Otherwise, they're 21st or 22nd in the other 3 events.
And since the start of season, they've really put a lot of effort in trying to perform these routines bigger, especially when you get in an arena like this. You can be very small, so everything has to be extended, bigger movements to really not just impress the audience, but the judges. Really nice job on the landings on all of her passes so far. So important for them to hit those landings. They don't have all of their athletes doing those big E passes or D elements at the end of the routine. Shea Mahoney coming after a fall.
Ari Guerra scores in a 9-0 only, so they need this routine and one more from Emily Gaskins. This is critical.
Watch how tightly she keeps those legs together, not giving away form deductions at all in this routine. Very precise, half in, half out, even keeps the legs together, toes pointed throughout. Excellent bar routine.
Beautiful form for Shea Mahoney.
Really nice to see. This is where you hope judges will reward it. And the only way they can reward it is to deduct from others who don't have that kind of perfect form.
The junior from Algonquin, Illinois. Nice job. Tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern, we'll have the second game of a big softball series between number 18 Arkansas and number 5 Tennessee from Knoxville. SEC softball is also available on the ESPN app, so you can watch from anywhere. Headed to the floor next will be Aspen Tucker, the junior from Lehigh Acres, Florida. You see her floor season NQS. What NQS stands for is National Qualifying Score. It's essentially a combination of 6 scores, 3 of which must be from away meets, and then you average the best 5 of those 6, and that's how they determine the NCAA rankings going into this meet and through the postseason.
Now Aspen does open with an E pass. It's a full twisting double back in tuck position. Really clear to see that half in, half out technique that she uses on that double back. Our judges should also be looking for precise footwork, no collapsed ankles, no flat feet. This is how they will separate some of these routines. Nice job on that pass, really pretty pass. Gotta watch the feet right there. She runs into the front, gets a little bit floppy with the feet.
Missouri high score so far this year was at 196.8. They've been hoping to break that 197 mark. In the last 2 meets, they were really strong on beam and this event, the floor.
She's going to end with a D, tumbling skill, much more difficult. Pike double back, little soft in the knees on the landing. Good job there, trying to keep those toes pointed. Good routine.
Really, Missouri doing a terrific job. 9.8 is their low score there. 9.875, the high score for Gabrielle Gatula. So Missouri doing exactly what they need to do to be a contender here today.
Well, she checked off those difficulty in terms of the tumbling, but that step to the side will cost a little.
Abby Millay coming on beam for Auburn. 9.825 was the score for Skylar Shepard. Before her, Darian Goburn, a 9.65 is their low score so far in that event, so that would be one that would hope to replace. This is a treat because this young lady's form, technique, and execution is just simply exquisite.
Absolutely.
Kathy.
She's one of the prettiest gymnasts in the competition in terms of the form and the precision and technique. You can really see how narrow that balance beam is. Not quite 4 inches wide. You must have to really work to keep the center of gravity right over the center of the beam as they tumble over it. So it's set it up, follow through, finish, strong.
She was out of the lineup last week. She's been having an issue with a hip flexor, so only expected to see her today in beam and floor.
And that's a big miss for them. They really would like to have that bar routine in the lineup. Watch this combination. Split jump, nice position, shoot jump. Oh, one of the most difficult jumps on the beam. You take your eyes off the beam, arch all the way back. Leap into the dismount, gainer full, not bad. A little bit far apart with those feet on the landing, but she slides the heels together for the salute.
Morgan Porter now on floor, coming after Aspen Tucker, 9.875. Their second 9.875 in a row. Missouri having an outstanding meet here at the SEC Championships in the second rotation.
Wonderful to see Morgan Porter at her best. Since her freshman year, this is the best her gymnastics has been on all 4 events. Opens with a pike double back. Really nice control on that landing. Little bit of flex feet in there.
If she can score 9.875 like her 2 previous teammates, Missouri could move into the lead in this rotation. Coming into this competition, based on season averages, we expected to see Alabama and Auburn in 1-2 spots. Of course, we're still early in the competition, but Missouri doing an outstanding job.
It's just a little bit more stretch in the legs and extension and the posture for the presentation, but the power behind this routine is nice to see. It's a good choice of music. It matches her style. And the power that we see in the tumbling. Oh no, chest forward. And when you hop on the landing and the legs do that awkward leg to the back, that unfortunately is a bigger deduction than a step.
She returned to the lineup back in 2018 after in 2017 having an Achilles tendon tear. So still pretty impressive power for Morgan Porter anchoring Missouri on floor. Meredith Sylvia now coming after Abby Millay, notched a 9.85.
She's ranked 10th, tied for 10th on the balance beam in the SEC.
It's a good opportunity to see the team strategy here. Now, Darian Goburn has the 9.65 that they would like to drop.
Watch this combination. Front aerial, little slow getting into the full twisting back handspring swing down. But nice difficulty, performed beautifully, just might have been a little too slow to connect them.
She says that back handspring straddle down is her favorite move because it usually gets a gasp from the audience.
Everybody just likes the name of it. It's a Rofova. Double stack into a split half. More difficult leap there, that second one. Her foot was a little bit flexed in the back.
Well, I mentioned Darian Goburn's 9.65, so anything above that will really improve their team score here. So expect an improvement there, and Auburn, pretty solid effort on beam after a little shaky on the bars in that first rotation. So Alabama, after their performances on bars, finishing with Lexi Graber.
They
And the
came back.
9.875, one of their high scores, and Shay Mahoney, also a 9.875, allowed them to come back to the top of the standings after 2 rotations here at the SEC Championship. Take a look at the scores for Alabama on bars. So that score of 9.0 of Ariana Guerra was thrown out. That's the one they get to drop. Everything else, 9.8 and above, counts towards that team total. Great job for the Crimson Tide in the second rotation.
We have seen this Alabama team do this before at the SEC Championships, really come on strong on the uneven bars. Clutch performances there.
That's many times we've seen that. You're right, Kathy. And last year they were second in the SEC Championships to LSU, who has won it the last 2 years in a row. LSU competing in the evening session tonight. So here are the updated standing. It's Alabama, Missouri, Arkansas, and Auburn. All right, more action from New Orleans when we come back. Rotation number 3 coming up. Welcome back to the Smoothie King Center. Getting set for the 3rd rotation, but let's look back in the 2nd rotation. Arkansas's Amanda Elswick, a season high for that 1.5 on the vault.
Certainly came up big, showing huge amplitude. Not quite the stick, but a nice way to finish that rotation.
Alabama impressive again on the bars. Lexi Graber with a 9.875.
And these were clutch performances. They had a fall before the final 2 routines in this session, and they stayed calm, cool, collected, and near perfect form for Shay Mahoney. Really nice job.
And for Auburn on beam, it was Abby Millay who gave them their highlight. She had a 9.85 for this effort.
Combine that calm, aggressive approach you need for good balance beam work, and fought for the landing. Good for her.
And Missouri having a terrific competition. Aspen Tucker did her part with a 9.875.
Showed difficulty in the tumbling, improvement on the dance, and watch this final tumbling run to finish off. Really solid rotation for Missouri.
So at the halfway point in this competition, Alabama has the lead by 5/100ths of a point over Missouri, followed by Arkansas and Auburn in 4th here in session 1 of the SEC Championships. Games plus SEC Gymnastics Championship highlights. You can always watch SEC Now on the ESPN app as well. All 4 teams on the floor in this session 1 of the SEC Championships. Alabama's on the beam in this rotation, Auburn on the floor. Missouri goes to the vault, and Arkansas will be on the bars. A reminder that every routine can be seen on the ESPN app. Every apparatus has its own individual channel, plus the all-around channel where you can see all 4 apparatus at once, so you can follow every single routine of your favorite team.
So you were just seeing the final touch warm-ups. They do a little warm-up before every single event, right before the rotation begins. Get that final feel for the equipment. Chelsea Christensen up in your left corner on vault. Opens up for Missouri with a full twisting Yurchenko. 995 start value. It's a nice vault. Looked like it had a bit of a hop on that landing and maybe some pike in the air.
In your bottom right, that's Emma Slappy underway for Auburn. She's their leadoff floor performer. Auburn needs a little boost right here. They are currently in 4th, .425 behind Alabama, who has the lead at the halfway point in this competition.
Jessica Yamson for Arkansas on the bar. Oh, over
what a
arch. She
save.
saved it, but and another one.
Wow. Gutsy save for Jessica Yamson.
Sometimes it's difficult to really get back into the swing and flow of a routine once it's broken like that. It just changes the timing ever so slightly. Back on track now. Big dismount. Watch this double layout. Full twist at the end. That was superb to finish off. We were on a ride the first part of the routine, but
what a save. Alonza Crawford on beam for Alabama.
And solid as can be so far. Love the confidence I see, their willingness to look away from the beam, almost even out at the judges, really performing this routine. Just to point those toes just a little bit hard on that turn. They just have to look for these little details to separate. Sometimes these built-in flaws in routines. Cat leap needed to get those legs up a little higher, but a little stutter step on the landing, but a really solid start for Alabama. Many of the gymnasts are doing these combinations into the dismount. That was a cat leap, aerial cartwheel into a full twist.
9 times Alabama has been the SEC champion. The last time they won it was back in 2015. And their head coach, Dana Duckworth, was telling us earlier, she's just asking her young ladies to focus on the details. She said, own every second, and the results and the scores will take care of themselves. Sydney Laird, the sophomore for Arkansas, on the bars now.
And it's really been work on trying to get her confidence up because the gymnastics is there.
Oh, no. What a shame.
And that's sort of what I'm talking about. If she can match her confidence to her ability and really trust and believe, you just attack these skills just a little bit more confidently. She couldn't quite get her grip, get that dowel over the top of the bar to hold on.
After that save by Jessica Yamzon, she had a 9.75, but a fall on an apparatus is a half-a-point deduction. She'll continue her exercise from that point on, but that just puts extra pressure on the rest of the lineup for sure.
And it's really a shame because look at the form and technique on her handstands and how tightly she keeps the legs together, straight, toes pointed. Little short on that final handstand. Very nice swing technique into the dismount, double layout. Might have seen a little soft knees on that, but she's young. So she just has to really find how to build that confidence in herself to attack these routines.
Laird is just a sophomore, but you can see her precision and technique is superb. Shalyn Olsen gave us a highlight on the vault for Alabama earlier. Let's see what she can do here on beam. Alonza Crawford, a 9.85. Impressive start for the Crimson Tide.
Well, Bart, Shalyn does a lot on the bounce beam. She has difficulty, just like she did on vault. Triple series, 2 layouts. She's a little bit soft in her knees and her posture's not quite as stretched, but every meet gets a little bit better. She's focusing on those little details.
She's the freshman from Vancouver, British Columbia. Member of the Canadian national team. In fact, she competed last fall at the 2018 World Championships, took a silver medal on the vault. The gold medalist was Simone Biles for the U.S.
A little form right at the end of that front aerial, but solid as can be. Now watch this. What a treat. 2 back handsprings after this little body wave and whips it right into a pike double back. You're not going to see that often.
And she drilled it. That was awesome.
That's what I mean. I mean, she has a level of difficulty that goes above and beyond most of the athletes that we'll see in this meet.
What a thrill. She took the risk and completely nailed it and gets a hug from Dana Duckworth in her 5th season as the head coach of the Crimson Tide. Nice. Aspen Tucker on vault now for Missouri.
Nice full twisting. Yurchenko really liked those straight legs in this vault.
We noted that Missouri was in second after the second rotation. Their scores are much more modest here on vault. The low score is a 9.6. The high score is a 9.775. So yet to break into the 9.8s on that event for the Tigers. Over 10,000 tickets sold for this SEC championship. Of course, most people are planning on being here tonight because they'll get to see Louisiana's own Louisiana State University go for a championship. Their third in a row they'll be shooting for, so there'll be a packed house tonight as we look to Francis Bidwell, the freshman from Phoenix, Arizona, who will anchor Missouri on the vault. Morgan Porter before her broke into the 9.8s, a 9.8-0.
And she'll do the 1-10-0 start value vault in this lineup. It's a 1.5 twist. Oh, rushed that just a little bit, really rushed through the block position, didn't quite get the shape in the air that she needed to go for the stick.
Haley Garner on the bars now. Kennedy Hambrick before her, a 9.825. That score for Sydney Laird was only a 9.2 after that ball. So nice. Extra pressure here.
Nice full pirouette on top of the bar and straight into her single bar release, a Ginger. Nice patience on that final kip past the handstand. Goes right into the tuck double back. Step back, looked like she didn't need to take that step. That was a little too casual.
Score just came in for Shallon Olsen for Alabama on the beam. It's a 9.925, which moved her into first place.
Really nice position in the air on that Ginger flyaway with a half twist. And the dismount out of the full pirouette, it upgrades this very basic dismount, but doing the full pirouette before elevates it in terms of bonus points.
So Kennedy Hambrick before her, a 9.825. Yenzon led them off with a 9.75. Arkansas hoping to finally put their first complete meet together. They had one score of 197 even this year, the only time they broke into that range. But if you want to contend for titles, it's 197 and above is a score you need to get. Sarah Schaefer set to go.
And their next two bar routines are their best bar routines. Sarah shows off really nice lines in this routine. You'll notice she swings her cast to handstand. You don't see that muscle.
9.875 is her season high.
Watch for straight arms throughout this entire routine and then stretches from hands to toes, showing off that handstand. Nice combination. Oh, a little bit of a pike and a whip in that bail. It's really the only flaw that I've seen so far.
5'9", redshirt sophomore from Texas.
And uses every inch on this dismount. Double layout, beautifully done. Nice finish.
Darian Gogorn now for Auburn on floor. Drew Watson before her, only a 9.15.
Open tuck double back. And she has sass to the max in this routine. Has to really concentrate on those feet because the judges are judging these elements. Really want to see toes fully pointed, legs locked out straight on these judged elements like leaps and jumps. Front full to front layout. Love the position in that second skill. Nice stretch.
Their head coach Jeff Graba in his 9th season, 3-time the SEC Coach of the Year. He told us that Darian is not shy in terms of taking an opportunity to show off. Good for her.
Lots of fun. Got to work on the feet just a little bit. Little collapse in the ankles. Got to get them together in those poses. Strong high double back to finish. Notice how she continues to lift throughout the entire skill.
So a tuck double somersault at the beginning and a very high pike double somersault at the end. She has been toying with doing a full twisting double, but chose not to do it for the mount today.
You can see where it would happen right in this open tuck double back. That full twist would go there. This is her final pass. The lift, though, that she gets off the floor and then continues to rise, great.
Michaela Burton for Arkansas on the bars.
And she had a mishap in the warm-ups, hit her feet on the dismount. Hopefully she keeps that out of the back of her mind.
Sarah Schaefer came in with a career-high 9.9 before this.
Michaela has a few little form issues, loses the feet throughout some of the skills. Here's that dismount. Nice job, double layout, much better.
And a clutch routine for the Razorbacks because they're replacing the 9.2 from Sydney Laird. So a really crucial score for Arkansas here in the third rotation. Emily Gaskins coming after Abby Armbrecht, had a 9.85. Alabama doing a really nice job. Their low score a 9.8, their high score, Shalyn Olsen's 9.925.
Now, if I was young, I would love to try that mount on me. That just looks fun. Talk about diving into your routine. Beautiful toe point. She has ballet training, and you can see it. When she goes up on releve or hits those poses, she pops the arch up. Really extends all the way through her ankle. A little bit short on that split position in the air. Got a little conservative, a little tight.
Kathy, you mentioned how many times we've seen Alabama crush it on bars. We've also seen the same for their work on the beam.
Beautiful acro series, back hands with her layout separate. Notice how she pops right up to that high releve.
Currently ranks 10th in the country. They haven't lost to any of these teams that they're competing against in this session.
Much better positions in that final leap sequence. Showed off exactly what they need to see. 180 split, perfectly pointed toes. And as I said, to give credit to athletes who can do that, you'll have to deduct from those who are flawed and don't have that kind of perfect feet, perfect form.
It's interesting that the away scores for Alabama have been among their highest. 6 of their 7 highest scores this year have come from away meets. And Abby Millay, a moment ago, starting her floor routine after Darian Goburn notched a 9.9.
And she can light up the floor. Again, showing off really good execution. Front layout to Rudy. Beautiful high battement. And those are the pictures in the air the judges are looking for in those leaps. Way up off the floor, showing off the split.
This routine and the final one for Auburn critical because they're trying to replace the 9.15 from Drew Watson.
High double back. Little trouble controlling the landing there. They will take a deduction. Gorgeous on that chaîné jeté in the double stag.
I mentioned that she'd been struggling with a hip flexor problem, which has limited some of her training. They kept her out of competition last week. Excited to have her back in the lineup for this championship event.
Back 1.5 to front layout. And really you're seeing that in lack of endurance and really power in the tumbling, but the beauty and elegance of this routine. Really beautiful. Look at that ending pose, gorgeous.
As Lexi Graber mounts the beam for Alabama, coming after Emily Gaskins at a 9.875, her season high. So Alabama really strong in this rotation on beam.
And they finish with Lexi, who's tied for 10th on this event in the SEC, has consistently performed well to earn that ranking. Layout pike to 2 feet. Boy, the poise under pressure they are demonstrating in this competition. Really nice to see. They've had some struggles throughout the season, but the last 2 meets have been their best, and they're building on that.
And as she is performing on beam, Sam
to a
Serio opens up on floor for Auburn. 9.85 was the score for Abby Millay. This is a really important routine for Auburn as well.
Nice control and pike double back. And finishing strong over on balance beam. Look at the front toss to the scale. That's as well as she's done it all season long. Beautifully done. Full to front, loud into the wolf jump. Showing really nice control going from the tumbling into that jump. Really nice straddle position at the top of those jumps. Final pass is a front 1.5 twist into an illusion front scale. Really like that final dance sequence into the choreography and pose.
And Auburn had a terrific season. The regular season, the SEC, their only losses were to Florida and Alabama. Their best regular season finish ever with 5-2 in the conference in the regular season. And the score in for Lexi Graber, a career high 9.95. So a 49.45 for Alabama is a season high on the beam here in the third rotation of the SEC Championships. And Shallon Olsen with a 9.925 rewarded for her risky dismount.
Absolutely. They love to see that difficulty. So exciting. And then, of course, the perfect landing.
Arkansas making a move. They have moved up to second in this rotation. Sarah Schaefer with a career-high 9.9 rewarded for her superb form.
Great to see the shake up every rotation, a difference in placement. You just keep fighting all the way through the competition.
And Michaela Burton had a 9.85, her career high, so they replaced the 9.2 from Sydney Laird. And the scores are updated and good. It's Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn now, and Missouri. Wow. Big rotation coming up when we come back. The fourth rotation. Who's going to win the Session 1 of the SEC Championship? '19 SEC Gymnastics Championships from New Orleans. Morgan Porter from Missouri in that third rotation, a 9.8 on the vault.
Showed a lot of power. Look at the height and distance, just a little bit of a pike and a hop.
Arkansas replaced the low 9.2 with big scores at the end of the rotation, including Sarah Schaefer's 9.9 career high.
Really showed off exquisite technique and form throughout that routine.
And Lexi Graber, what a time for a career high, 9.95, the highest score on beam today so far at these SEC Championships. And you got a hop out of Dana Duckworth from that word. Darian Goburn, a 9.9 for Auburn on floor.
Showed off her tumbling and her sass. Put them all together. Really solid routine.
So now let's take a look at who's taking the next step, brought to you by Regions. Tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2, it'll be Session 2 of the SEC Championships, and that features LSU, Florida, Georgia, and Kentucky. LSU in front of what will be expected at least 10,000 fans will try to go for their third SEC title in a row. It's going to be great. We want you to join us for that one tonight on ESPN2. Let's take a look at the scores after 3 of 4 rotations. It's Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn, and Missouri. Alabama, with a 1/4 of a point over their season average on beam, has maintained the lead. Arkansas, Auburn, and Missouri. Missouri, with .345 below their season average on vault, has dropped down to 4th place. Once again, a reminder that every routine can be seen on the ESPN app. Every apparatus actually has its own individual channel, plus the all-around channel, where you can see all 4 apparatus at once, like we're seeing here. You can follow every single routine of your favorite school on the ESPN app.
That was Katie Becker up in your top left on vault for Auburn.
So Maddie Desch will lead off Alabama, our team leaders. They're on floor. Auburn is on vault in this rotation. Missouri on bars, and Arkansas finishing on the beam.
Maddie Desch has superb technique in her tumbling. Really good lift off the floor. And control on the landing, very soft on that landing.
Arkansas has a lead of just over a 1/2 point. Excuse me, Alabama over Arkansas here going to the final rotation.
Combination pass that just goes on and on and on, combining twisting skills, somersaults, leaps, jumps.
Desch is the junior from Lenexa, Kansas. Competed for the U.S. on the World Championship team.
These leaps have to be precise. Turgite half, split full. Judges really look to see where they take off and where they land to make sure they get that full rotation in the air. And of course, the split is very important as well.
The quality of collegiate gymnastics just getting better every year. More and more world gold medalists competing now in collegiate competition.
Nice stretch after the tumbling. Her chest was just a little bit low on the landing, but she finessed it really well to stretch up to the finish position.
It's interesting, she had a different floor routine earlier in the season, but didn't really like it, so they went back to a previous routine, didn't they?
It's a lot more fun for her, and when you're having fun, that's when success happens.
And Alabama really doing a terrific job today, as their coaching staff was telling us, keep in the Bama bubble, as they call it, and stay focused on what they're doing 1 second at a time. Missouri on bars. Aspen Tucker led them off with a 9.25. This is Brooke Kelly.
Little arch on that first handstand. Nice look at a piked Jaeger. That's a front somersaulting pike. Every handstand so far, though, she's got a little sway and over arch in her back. Legs come apart. Her feet come apart just a little bit at the end of those kips. Tiny little things, but they add up. But boy, did she glue them together on the double layout. Strong finish.
The senior from Birmingham, Alabama, Brooke Kelly.
Now watch how she overdoes this handstand. She's got that arch in her back, feet go all the way beyond. That is a deduction as well as being short. You want to be right on top. This was the highlight of the routine. Just a little soft knees on the landing, but pretty in the air.
And high fives from their assistant coach, John Carney. Gracie Day, see what she can do on vault now. Scores for Auburn. This is one of the more challenging events for them. They're low. Gracie Day needs a big one here.
Good to see her in this lineup. They needed that 1.5. She's sort of been in and out of the lineup today. We weren't sure what was going to happen, but she pulled that off really well. Remember, she had a fall on bars, so to come back and hit that big vault for them, just a little short on the landing.
Well, we saw this big difficulty from Canadian Olympian Shallon Olsen, rewarded on beam.
Yeah, hold on.
She can also fly on the floor.
She's going to do a double-double. First pass, that's a double back with 2 twists. 1 in the first somersault, 1 in the second. It is really difficult. Sets it up perfectly.
Barely stayed in bounds.
She had a tiny bit of form, knees in the air, but such difficulty.
We were talking to the coaching staff about her talent. She's just a freshman from Vancouver, British Columbia.
You don't expect the power that you see. You don't expect the difficulty, because it's usually you see the power-packed athletes who do that. She finesses her way. Look at that. Right through the tuck double back. Already doing more difficulty in those two passes than most.
Dana Duckworth was telling us, he said she's kind of like a freak of nature. She can do every trick in the book.
I like that she hit the positions in the air. She was a little bit flat-footed going into them.
Amanda Ellswick on beam at this time from Arkansas, coming after Kennedy Hambrick, a career-high 9.9, and Jessica Yamzon over there led them off with a 9.85.
Well, that was a tumbling treat on floor exercise for sure. Really exciting to see that difficulty.
Like you say, it's nice to have that power and that difficulty, and as she continues to polish her form and technique, she will be tough to beat.
Nifty little combination there. The beat jump to 1 foot, and then right into the front aerial. Now, so far, I don't think we've seen this dismount yet today to round up double twist. We've seen a lot of 1.5 twists. Of course, we've seen the double back. Here's the double twist.
Oh, nice.
And a good landing.
3 really solid hit routines for the Razorbacks. Just a moment ago for Auburn on vault, Darian Gobourn.
Whoa, what a block! And a landing. Good for her. She got it all together. Got the position on the table. Huge block. Becca Schugel on the bar. She is so solid for them on this event. Good high amplitude on that Pikes Jaeger.
They need a big score from her here. Aspen Tucker had only a 9.25, and otherwise Kelly a 9.7 and Christensen a 9.75.
Nice full pirouette. Good form throughout. Very pretty form. Just a little hop on that double back dismount.
Becca Schugel, a 5th-year senior from Eagan, Minnesota. Shay Mahoney on floor coming after Shallon Olsen got a 9.825.
Little bounce on that double back. You could just feel the energy of this Alabama team. Front fold to front layout, stayed in bounds.
Remember, in collegiate gymnastics, you can step on the line, but if any part of your foot goes over the line, it would be a 1/10 of a point deduction.
Notice how those pointed toes, they come right off the floor and pushes throughout the entire foot into those leaps. Those are the kind of details that the judges need to reward. Double back, little soft knees and chest forward on the landing, but a really nice performance.
Alabama in control of this meet with a 1/2 point lead coming into this rotation. Arkansas having a terrific rotation on beam, a 9.85 and 2.99 so far over there. Just a moment ago, Sophia Carter went to the beam.
She is so beautiful on this event, but was off on her back handspring layout step out.
So a missed opportunity after 3 huge scores for Arkansas there on beam. Jada Glenn, will she do a 1.5, Kathy?
She warmed it up, and they need it. If she can hit it and get the land. Oh, she did the full. They stayed conservative. It's a big vault, but it's a 9.95 start value, so missing that 10.0 start value, that's what you have to balance, the reward and risk. And they definitely needed a good vault. Maybe they thought the 1.5 wasn't quite there.
They were adjusting the lineup even as we warmed up today. It was either going to be a Miracle Phillips or Jada Glenn getting the go in that final rotation. Jeff Graba hoping they could get off to a good start and hang on by the time they got to vault. Tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern, we'll have the second game of a big softball series between number 18 Arkansas and number 5 Tennessee from Knoxville. SEC softball is also available on the ESPN app. Abby Armbrecht on floor now for Alabama. 9-8-2-5 was the score for Shea Mahoney.
And this is one of the prettiest routines you will see in these championships. From the choice of the music to the choreography.
Frances Bidwell opening up on bars for Missouri. She's their anchor performer there.
Pretty big step back into that lunge on floor. Beautiful straddle positions and the leaps and jumps. A little chest down on that landing on bars.
The high score for Missouri on bars is a 9-8-2-5 from Morgan Porter. Otherwise, most of the scores in that 9-7-5 range.
Lovely hands, really nice posture throughout this routine. Back 1.5 to front layout, right into the half turn pose.
Armbrecht, the senior from Mobile, Alabama. She's a 4.0 student. In fact, she's pursuing her master's degree in marketing. She graduated from her undergrad studies last May.
Lost the feet just a little bit at the top of that double stag jump. How lovely. What a way to finish. Nice choreography there at the end.
The moment ago for Arkansas on the beam. Coming after the fall for Sophia Carter. She scored only a 9.25, so extra pressure on Derrick and Burton, the final two performers for the Razorbacks on beam. They have a 9.85 and 2 9.9s already.
Little balance check there. One thing the judges are really looking for on balance beam, a little bit new this year, is really the rhythm and pace of the routine. They want to see it keep moving, no concentration pauses. Needs to point those toes just a little bit harder.
2 years ago, Arkansas had a very challenging season, and then last year, one of the most improved teams in the NCAA finished 10th. A huge climb from the previous year in 2017.
Really nice second jump in that series, more difficult, a 3/4 turn in the air. Cat leap, got to point those toes just a teeny bit harder in there to really show off the picture. Strong finish, didn't need to pike down. Perhaps would have gotten the stick, just a little bit of a pike in that dismount.
And she gets congratulations from Jamie Pisani, former Arkansas standout, who's now coaching there. Lexi Graber, look at the meet she's had today so far. That 9.95 is the high score of the meet so far on the beam. She's doing a solid all-around performance, coming after Armbrecht notched a 9.9.
Opens with a full twisting double back. Keep in mind, to really get those big scores, those ones over 9.9, you really have to have it all. High level difficulty. She's open with an E-pass. Perfect form. Show off the full flexibility on those floor leaps. Otherwise, the judges really must take that deduction. So far, she's showing them what they need to see.
2 9.9s and 2 9.825s for our leaders, Alabama, the Crimson Tide, in this final rotation.
A little bit of legs on that combination pass, the front layout to the front full. But the judges can see that they're not just totally locked out, straight, toes pointed and stretched. they can take a little deduction.
You'll see on your right of your screen there, the meet is over for Auburn and Missouri. You see their final scores.
Much better lift on that pike double back. Good control on the landing and worked hard to get the chest up as those feet made contact with the floor. Solid all-around performance for her. Really nice.
So Auburn was hoping for a 196.8 range. They came up about a half a point short of that. Missouri with a 195.9, a respectable score. Katrina Derrick had a 9.65 for Arkansas on beam, and here is Michaela Burton moments ago.
Opens with a front aerial. Very solid.
So a 9.775 for her would allow Arkansas to pass Auburn for second place in this session. Alabama firmly in control, and they have only one performer yet to go over there on floor.
Really, really solid. Very secure on the back handspring layout, step out. Just a teeny micro check after that full turn. She's trying to be very deliberate, as you'll see.
Remember, the score they're trying to replace is a 9.25 from Sophia Carter. They have two 9.9s.
There are deductions on those leaps. The split was not quite there, and the sheep jump needs to get those feet closer to the head. But I think that is as well as she can perform that. Just that one balance break maybe was in her control. We'll see what the judges do with the shapes in those leaps, if they give her credit and not take a deduction.
And her score came in just now. It was a 9.85 for that happened just a moment ago. This is live. This is Ariana Guerra. Lexi Graber had a 9.925. She is a 39.65 in the all-around. She is the highest all-around so far in this SEC championship. Remember, there's one more session to go this evening with 4 more teams. Titles will be determined, the highest score in both sessions.
Ari opens with double layout. Chest was just a little bit down. Left leg was a little low on that one jump.
She's the reigning SEC floor exercise champion, former national team member, the senior from Texas.
And earned that with power in her tumbling. Very expressive in the dance.
We did a feature on her earlier this year when we saw Alabama against Missouri. She has had a miraculous recovery from a painful back procedure. To see her thriving here at the culmination of her career is wonderful.
It's a beautiful thing. Worked really hard to do and finish the way she wanted to in gymnastics with just pure joy. What a nice performance. Well done.
And what a team score for Alabama on the floor. They have 2 9.9s, a 9.925. And when her score comes in, that will wrap up this competition. You see the 197.25 is already the score for Alabama at this point, but they can replace their one low score, which is only 9.825, and if Guerra's score is higher than that, their total final score will go up a little bit. Alabama is going to win this competition regardless of what Ariana Guerra gets. Arkansas, with a 196.45, fell short of their season high, but will finish second, a 9.925. So the second one in a row, and a 197.35, a season high for Alabama to win session 1 of the SEC championship. a complete meet for the Crimson Tide, Kathy.
Absolutely. So proud of this team. I know they've struggled through some issues throughout the season, but they never stopped. They just kept working, pointed toward this competition and into the postseason.
So they will win session 1, and when we come back to New Orleans, we'll talk to Dana Duckworth and their all-around star, Lexi Graber. Stay with us. We're back in New Orleans. Session 1 is in the books, and Alabama, with a season-high 197.35, wins that first session. Arkansas second, Auburn third, and Missouri Tigers in fourth. Hi, everybody. I'm Mark Connor, along with my fellow Olympic medalist Kathy Johnson-Clark, and with the winners, Dana Duckworth. I talked to you before the competition, and you said, I just want my team to stay in the Bama bubble and own every second. And it sounded like a very ethereal coaching comment, but your team delivered today, didn't they?
They really did, and we focused on actions, not outcomes. Focus on every detail and control what you can control. And I think that there was still some room left, but at the same time, they fought to the very end, and then it really balanced beam and floor, kind of really gave them the confidence that they need going into championship season. So yes, they did achieve our goal.
What I really like to see is the calm and the aggressive, the combination of the two, and as you said, the fight, especially coming back after the fall on bars. Tell us about that moment, how that came together.
Well, I think that bottom line is the girls know the next second's more important. So once something happens, you have to let it go. And the quicker you let it go and move on to the next thing, the better your team is going to be able to be successful. And so the ladies have worked on this a lot. And so for us to have our season high, to know that we're peaking at the right time is exciting. And, we're going to stay, because everyone's going to ask, well, what are you going to do now? We're going to do the same thing we've been doing. We're going to focus on the details, minute by minute. That's what matters.
Now, Lexi Graber, congratulations, all-around winner so far in session 1, a season high for you. How did you put together that kind of performance today?
I think a big thing tonight is we asked everybody and we said, what is your why and what are you going to do tonight for? And we all went around, and mine was, do it for this team. And I think we all did a great job at doing it for each other. We had that fall, but we came back and did it for her. And we have, some girls injured, so we did it for them. And just every performance we gave our everything for that reason.
Can you tell us how this season, because it's slowly built, and there were moments you guys had to sort of step back, regroup, and come forward. How has that progressed to this moment?
I think we just take everything and we don't get defeated. This team has been really great at not getting defeated and not letting it get them down, and using that energy just to get better every time.
So this was a career best for you?
Yes,
ma'am. What a performance.
Thank you.
Talk about yourself for just this moment. I know it's all about team, but walk us through that all-around performance.
I had her on my back every time, just telling me to stay in the moment and trust your training and not go bigger or better. And, it's just so much fun to be at SECs when there's this much energy and using that to your advantage and just doing what you can do. Well,
a big congratulations.
Can I brag really quick?
Yes.
Because her eyes got this big after balance beam, and I'm sitting like, you do that all the time. Like, what is, But I think what's so beautiful is Lexi is a processor. She's very hard on herself in a positive way, and she finds a way to raise it to the next gear and the next level. And I'm so excited for the future of our program because of young women like Lexi who just, if you ask Lexi, how you do it? I'm fine. Even if she's hurt, I'm fine. She'll find that gear, and you want everybody to have that kind of love. And she loves the sport, and we love this sport because it's a great sport. We want every little girl watching this broadcast to stay in gymnastics forever because it can translate into the rest of your life. Roll Tide!
You got to take her through the rest of your life because she talks about you in all the best ways.
Now, 6 times you've won the national championship. You've won this SEC championship many times as well. So how do you put together a kind of performance when in the last couple of years there's a lot more parity? There used to be just Alabama, Georgia, Utah, and that was kind of it. Now the field in the NCAA competition is a lot deeper. There's a lot more pressure these days, isn't there?
Well, there is, but I also feel like if you look at the team this year, it's like we started off a certain way, the judges gave us information, we went back, we changed it, we did what we needed to do, and then we just did that kind of beam performance. So was it tough? Was it a challenge? It was, but these ladies have not stopped fighting. And so what I think is exciting about the parity is that it forces you to have to get better. So like I always say, pressure is a privilege. So let's continue to all get better and find those athletes that love this sport so that we can continue to rise it to the next level.
So tell us what the winning team of the first session does during the second session. Want to share that with us?
Well, we're headed to get a bite to eat.
Okay.
And then we're going to come back and we're going to support our colleagues.
Very good.
That's I say we're friends. We're friends in life, but we are rivals on the arena floor. And so tonight we're going to enjoy the performance, but we're going to learn from it as well. I'm very proud of where we ended tonight, knowing there's still more in the tank. Going into regionals is going to be really helpful and exciting for them because they're a great team, and I know they're a great team. I tell them that all the time. And so the fact that they're believing it and then the outcomes were because they stayed in the moment. It wasn't about focusing on a result. It was focusing on an action.
Well,
congratulations on a great season
Congratulations.
high at the SEC Championship.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Dana.
And good luck to all the
Lexi,
teams.
congratulations
Thank
to
you.
you.
Thank you. Yeah.
So when we come back, we'll wrap this one up here from New Orleans. A great start to 4 hours of live coverage of SEC championships. Back in gorgeous New Orleans, and what a beautiful weekend for the 2019 SEC Championship. Session 1 is over, and Alabama, with a 197.35, a season high, is the leader in the clubhouse, so to speak, because we have 4 more teams that will go this evening in session number 2. The SEC awards the regular season champions based on the win-loss record, and this year the trophy goes to Florida. Let's go down to the PA announcer, Mike Smith.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the podium for a special presentation as Southeastern Conference Associate Commissioner Tiffany Daniels presents the 2019 SEC Gymnastics Regular Season Trophy to head coach Jenny Rowland and the Florida Gators. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2019 SEC Regular Season Champions, the Florida Gators.
So when we come back to New Orleans, we'll wrap this one up with some more highlights and set up tonight's competition, Session 2 of the SEC Championship. We're back in New Orleans. The teams have arrived to get set for Session number 2, which will be later on this evening. And these are the top 4 teams in the SEC based on their rankings. LSU has really poured it on at the late part of the season. What scores they've had. And they are the leader coming into this session. And then there's Florida, Georgia, and Kentucky, the 4 teams that will be in Session 2 at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2 tonight. And that will determine the SEC team champions as well as individual champions. We're going to see some superstars, not only some incredible teams. From Kentucky, what a year they've had, and Molly Kortha Jr. is just all power, isn't she?
Absolutely. All these teams are packed with so much talent, but they certainly have some stars. Trinity Thomas has just lit up the place in women's collegiate gymnastics. She's strong on every single event. And Sarah Finnegan of LSU is perfection personified. She has come so close to that 10-0 mark, hit it a few times, so we can expect some big scores. Same thing with Sabrina Vega. She can outperform anyone she chooses to on the floor exercise.
So the teams are warming up because they'll be set for later on tonight, the final session of the SEC Championship. LSU has won it the last 2 years and looking for their 3rd title. We're expecting a crowd of over 10,000 tonight here in New Orleans to see if the home team of sorts can earn their 3rd consecutive SEC championship. Our Session 1 winner, Alabama, with a season-high 197.35. Now coming up next is SEC softball and number 18 Arkansas taking on number 5 Tennessee. Don't miss Session 2 of the SEC Championship tonight at 8 Eastern on ESPN2. For Kathy Johnson-Clark, I'm Bart Connor. So long from New Orleans.